should say, and that they felt that Jesus would have said it if he had have said it. However, the fact that he didn't say it seemed to escape them. And it seems to have escaped quite a lot of church thinking up to the present day. Although, as I say, it is changing. They are catching up with us. They are beginning to understand we are all of the one spirit, that we are all entitled to a measure of joy in our lives, that we will live on, and that things that we do wrong down here we must put right, and that nobody dying on any cross can actually make it right for us. We must make it right for ourselves, this we understand. But we do appreciate the fact that Jesus offered himself up, if you like, as a sacrifice for us, for our lives, so that we could come together here today, praise him and say thank you so much for having been our inspiration, for showing us selflessly and courageously that there is life after death, that we will all go on to be with our loved ones who have gone before us, and to make the God of love our God, and not a jealous God and an angry God who wants to go and smite somebody in the next village or the next town or the next country. So I think perhaps at this time of Christmas, where the angels said, we've come to bring you joy, tidings of joy and goodwill to all men and women, of course, that they must have been telling the truth. They didn't come to earth to lie to us and say, well, we come to bring joy and goodwill to a few of you. And particularly some of you who will keep the Sabbath or do something else appropriate. So they didn't say any of that. They said, we are coming, and that's what we celebrate today. We celebrate the birth of a child who grew up to be the light of the world. God bless you all. It's the next is the mediumship. Yes. All right. Just for this occasion, I'm acting as what we used to call a chair, but our new Spiritualist Society decides that we shouldn't have chairs, or chairpersons or anything. That's ridiculous, really. That goes with having committees. We don't have committees either. It's not that we're anarchists. It's just that we believe what Jesus told us about ourselves, which is that we can all be equal. We can all be ourselves, and as long as we love each other, we'll manage. And we don't have any committees or anything. We don't have any presidents. And so, therefore, I thought we'd abolish chair people as well. So we will have people who conduct the services. We'll have conductors, and don't say pass along the bus, please. Some of you here are too young to even remember that we had bus conductors. We used to have people in uniforms on buses. They used to see you on and off and give you a ticket and be nice to you and help you on and off. And now you have a machine and a driver who is very...
Where they're going.
Quite often. I'm now taking my cue from your lovely person here, Jill, who has said to me, I can do it because I can do it. She's fair enough, I suppose. So what we're going to do now is actually come to that part of our Spiritualist meeting where we actually prove, or we hope to prove, that there is indeed life after death for everybody. You don't have to have performed any rituals in your life in order to attain this life after death. In fact, you could have been a thoroughly bad egg. However, you can see that through on the other side and make everything all right. But it's a bit of a lengthy process over there. So what I always say to people is, try and be as good as possible down here. If you know you've done something wrong, try and make up for it down here, because you don't really want to have to face all that when you pass over. It would be really nice just to go over there and have a nice time. which if you have been really nasty to people, and we won't mention any names because I don't know anybody that nasty, but if you've been very nasty, you know, somebody like Hitler comes to mind, you are going to be in the depths for a very long time until you can actually sort of sort your way out of it by making amends to all those that you've wronged. Well, you know, so for us, for people who've lived reasonably decent lives, we will potter over when our time comes, and we will meet our loved ones on the other side, and we will also, when the time is right, and if the medium's not too awful and we think, well, we might just talk to her, we will try and make our presence felt. We will try and communicate back to our loved ones who we've left behind down here. This can take place in all sorts of different ways. Again, in the New Spiritualist Society, we don't mind how people work as far as their mediumship is concerned, as long as they get the goods. You know, as long as they please the people whose messages they are you know, giving, and the communicants that they speak to. So tonight we'll have a different kind from what some of you may be used to, but we've got Cathy here, the Reverend Cathy, who is very good at reading people's jewellery.
And not giving you back.
Or keys or anything else, objects, any sort of. And she does get a link with spirit, of course. And if you would like to offer her something, she will start.
I will.
Thank you. And then of course I will link in as well, and so on and so forth. And we will do this for about half an hour or so. Is that all right?
So would anybody like to give up their jewellery too?
Yeah, come and
We got a lady over this side.
I'll do these for the minute, all right? Okay. Let's see. I don't need glasses. Right, okay. So what I do, I read the object, and usually you're taught to put the object down and you get a link in. So I'm reading this first, okay. What I get from this watch, the stickler for time, well, you know it's our pathway is made for us, right? And you know exactly which direction you're taking. But there's a link here that I feel there's something missing within your life, meaning that you still want to do things. You're very ambitious, you know what you want. It's a lovely feel to this watch, and I feel that the person who has this watch is very spiritually minded, interested in this way of life. You've had to straighten up a few things in your life because, as you know, we're all protected. We have to protect ourselves. I feel that you've had to protect yourself because of the solar plexus where we pick up. You're very vulnerable to, susceptible to people's, shall I say, attack, and you've had to work on that. I'm pacing up and down here. I feel that you're quite an impatient person. You want something to happen now, and I feel that it hasn't happened now because I feel you're a bit restricted, you're a bit limited, and you want to break free of a few things in your life. Am I correct? Yes, exactly. Okay, I'll give that to you. At the moment, I'm getting very breathless. I want to stand up, pull myself together, and they're telling me, pull yourself together, literally, and they're laughing with it because they come in with lots of love. They're grateful what you've done for them. I feel this is a man figure because I feel he wants to straighten you up a bit, do your hair a bit, come on, smarten yourself up, they're telling me, and look after yourself because you've let yourself go a bit, they're telling me. Very, very lovely person, by the way, but I'm getting terrible stomach pains here. Oh gosh, and it's like you, they want to rub your stomach because I feel it's connected with, you've got, shall we say, lady problems and things like that. Sorry, I have to say that. But they want to give you all the love, they want to do this, they want to give you, I feel that you've given so much in your life, and it's about time that they want you to have more, you know, that you feel you've given so much and you're thinking, oh, can I go on any longer? I can't give myself. And that's what I get from this gentleman. I get a John coming in, it could be down here or over there. I get a May as well, month of May. And, you know, it's about time you took a deep breath, because what you're doing, you're thinking back, you're thinking, is this what it's all about? Because you're a very spiritual person and you're very curious. I get a book, you're looking at books, you're reading through the lines basically, that are telling me read it properly, because you're just taking bits out of it, and you will see, you know, how important this way of life is, because you're very interested. I don't know if you're you're a medium. I don't know if you're a medium, but you should be doing this. In fact, you should be up here, not me. You're telling me. But look after yourself. I mean, my stomach is, you know what I mean? And they want to give a lot of love. They want to move you on. I don't know if home or something, they're not happy with your home at the moment. You're settled. You're not settled. You want to keep moving. They want to move you forward, and it'll be the best thing you've done. So say God bless.
Right. Well, I don't usually do psychometry, so...
Oh, she does. Oh, yes, she does.
Oh, no, I don't. Honestly, you're supposed to be sort of spiritual, do you know what I mean?
Oh, but we are.
We are. Well... Oh. Someone's had quite a lot of problems in their life. I know this sounds general, but one has to give what one gets. I feel that 3 people are very important to this person. I feel drawn over here, so I wander over here. So we don't know where this is at the moment.
But I don't know who.
Well, no, it's okay. Could I ask who this is? Oh, it's yours. So I did get that 3 people were very important to you. And the reason I asked whose it was because otherwise we're working in a vacuum and nobody knows whether I'm talking a load of rubbish or not. You know what I mean? Which really worries me. So if that's correct, and I'm pleased. I did get somebody coming through who was very uncomfortable in the last stages of their life. And I did feel that it was a gentleman who comes at this time. And particularly, I'm being reminded that it is your birthday today. And I feel that this gentleman would have been very connected to you in that respect, that you may have expected a gift or a present from him, because that's what he's wanted me to give to you, is like a sort of a box as a present. This ring is particularly, it's sort of symbolic of a grounding that you have, that of a connection that is unbroken for you. There is an unbroken connection. Is that all right? I feel that that is a very precious object as well for you. The gentleman here, now I don't know how he passed, but he's giving me these physical symptoms where my chest is sort of feeling very difficult. I can't really breathe, and I don't know if the heart was also a problem for him. You would understand that. And he's saying, thank goodness I don't need anything like that over here. So all the aches and the pains just left him when he left this earth plane. But he's talking about the effect it had on you, and he was very concerned that it wouldn't affect you in the same way it took him off. So he was looking really for you to be more healthy in that respect than he felt that he was. So he's very caring in his attitude towards you. And it seems to be on this sort of loving level. So I don't want to bury your husband unnecessarily, you know, because they can object. But I did feel very much that this was a very husbandly feeling, you see. Me never being a husband, it's quite difficult to decipher, but I knew that it was this sort of very caring, and he must have been quite a gentle man as well. You know, not a bully. I don't feel that he was a bully. He comes in very softly, and he just wants you to know that he's still taking care of you. He says how well you've been able to keep everything going in his absence. He's quite cross, really, that you're able to manage on your own. I think that's probably how he was, you know, when he was over here. He liked to feel that he was in charge, and he would do everything. He would see to everything, and so he's quite sort of cross, really, that you've been able to manage very well, apparently. He says, you know, you've had your moments, of course. But particularly today, of all days, he wants to give you his love, to let you know that he still cares for you and wants to give you a gift. And the best gift, what I'm looking at, I'm looking at a smallish thing with it looks like a sort of lovely rose or red flower on the top of it, which must be some kind of significance, hopefully, for you. But, well, a red rose usually means a loving gesture, and perhaps you're going to get one. Who knows?
No.
But no, certainly I saw this little sort of pot thing with a lovely flower on it, and it looked like a red rose or peony or something with lots of petals. Right, so. And just to say how well you're looking after yourself, and how well you're looking after everybody. And he just wants to give you a hug and say well done to you, and to say happy birthday, and to let you know, I see, thank you, that where you've been a bit concerned about yourself and how many more birthdays, and he says it'll be quite a time before you join him. So you might as well make the best of it. That's what he says. All right. So I'll say to you. I know that you have family here who would all like to hear from him, but it's you that is occupying his attention at this time. And as he's saying, he hasn't come all these millions of light years to talk to everybody. He just wants you to know that he cares for you and he's there for you still. And well done.